Hey everybody, Brian Brooks here from the Idaho Wildlife Federation. Welcome back to the weekly legislative recap where we talk about everything that moved through the legislature in the past week. That's to do with fish, wildlife, hunting, fishing, public lands, and access. And I try to talk to you about it as fast as possible so that you can get to enjoying your weekend. We're starting to get into the meat of the legislative session. We got bills coming out, so I'm just going to dive right into this thing. The first bill on the docket is Senate Bill 1021. I told you guys about this one last week. This is Senator Herndon's bill that would give the legislature the authority to approve or deny any modification to the Priest Lake outflow control structure. Currently, there is a collaborative, local stakeholder-driven process to figure out what consensus things could be done to restore the fishery in the Priest River. We think this bill is premature. We don't support it. We simply think that the legislature getting in the way of a local stakeholder process is not a good idea. Once they come up with something that they all agree on, years from now they have to lobby statewide state legislators asking permission from East Idaho lawmakers, Treasure Valley lawmakers for a hyper-local project up in North Idaho. We don't like this bill, but it did pass out of committee nonetheless, although I will note that there was bipartisan opposition to the bill. Another bill that passed out of the same Resources Committee meeting was Senate Bill 1017. I let you guys know about this bill last week as well. This is a bill from the Idaho Department of Parks and Rec that would allow boaters to register their watercraft and buy 2-year invasive species stickers. So a 2-year registration, 2-year invasive species sticker as opposed to just the 1 year, which is available now. We like the bill. It's rather benign. It's not going to have any impact on the invasive species mitigation funding. So good bill. Another bill that was printed just this week was Senate Bill 1049. Now, this is a bill that was supported by the Idaho Department of Lands last year, and now it's being supported by stakeholders and users of state lands. Essentially, it's rectifying a problem. The problem is right now that the violations for messing up state lands by going off-road in ATVs or damage to any natural resources are really high. It's a misdemeanor, and a lot of judges, when people are get a ticket for this kind of stuff, are throwing them out because the penalty is so high. This reduces that penalty to a warning. The second time is an infraction with a significant fine, and the third time is a misdemeanor with an even bigger fine, and it also creates a criminal charge out of damaging the natural resources on these state lands. We support this bill, especially if it results in better enforcement of taking care of our resources on state lands. That bill was just printed. It has not been officially introduced and discussed in committee. Another bill that was printed, not yet discussed in committee, is a bill that was modified from last year. This is Senator Harris's bill that addresses careless exposure of barbed wire. As we know, barbed wire can cause issues for migrating wildlife. Wildlife sometimes can't get through them, but this bill likely comes from some issue with livestock getting tangled up in someone's barbed wire fencing that was carelessly left out. Regardless of the intent, it will benefit wildlife, so we're going to give this one a thumbs up. That is it for this week. Please stay tuned, and thanks for following along.